Hey, what's up, guys? Rampedi here. We are back with another show. I wanted to press them. I wanted to suffocate them. Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
Orlando Pirates. We have to start there, right? The Cup specialists were knocked out this weekend by Richards Bay in the Carling Cup. Just how much did Orlando Pirates have everyone fooled, including myself, especially after that MTN 8 win? In all competitions, 18 games, 8 wins, 3 draws, 7 losses. In the last 10 games, only 5 goals scored. They only find themselves 6 points ahead of Cape Town Spurs, who have only won 1 game only. I've spoken about the hype getting to these players. Some of these players started to believe their own hype, getting onto radio, talking about, oh no, I wanted to press Sundowns, I wanted to suffocate them. Where's the pressing now? I've spoken about the fact that they could not deal with CAF and as well as the league as well. And Jose Riveiro, he needs to be mentioned. I love him. He's a good coach, without a shadow of a doubt. But some of the decisions that he's been making, some of the predictable substitutions that he's been doing, and the squad that he has, Orlando Pirates didn't assemble the squad so that you can avoid relegation. They assembled the squad so that you can compete with Mamelodi Sundowns. He plays Kaizer Chiefs next. That's the Soweto derby. And I won't lie, Kaizer Chiefs find themselves further ahead than Orlando Pirates on the log. I don't think a draw will help him. I don't think a loss will help him as well. It's not good enough for Orlando Pirates at this current stage. And I just think the fact that, Jose, you don't rotate your squad. You don't rotate your squad at all. And it's a big squad too. Keeping him till the end of the season, I can see Orlando Pirates doing that. But come the end of the season, if we're only looking at an MTN 8 in the trophy cabinet only, he's going to be in big trouble. 3 league titles in a row, a World Cup participant, and as well as a World Cup goal. Not to forget that international experience in England. Who could I be talking about?
Okay, guys, another guest on Playing the Field with Shakes, a guest that I highly respect for his career. Listen to this one. 3 DSTV premierships in a row with SuperSport United, a World Cup participant, a World Cup goal scorer against France, by the way, international experience in England and Greece as well. Bongani Khumalo, analyst, how are you doing?
Very good, Shakes. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Before I get into the football news and everything that's going on and stuff, the transfer from Tuks to SuperSport United, how did that happen? And did you ever look back and be like how young you were actually at the time to have gone on and won those league titles with SuperSport?
So basically, Tuks is a wonderful environment, for a budding professional sportsman, just in general, not just for football. There's so many sporting codes, where you're taught, we're in the right environment, the right psychology, training, and everything in between.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate to be a part of that, and there would have been players before me, that would have gone on and played in the PSL. I can name quite a few of those players that would have gone on and had careers. Robin Giannis would have been one of them, one of the first to make the jump, as well as Rato Shabang. So it was just an environment where, you had a good chance of making it. If you did well, in that environment, you had a good chance. And all you can do as a young player is just give yourself a chance to make it. Work as hard as you can, whenever you can, because you never know who's watching. And we played a lot of PSL friendlies when I was at Tuks, which was obviously part of your development. At that time, the first division was still called the Vela League. It was a national league at the time.
Yeah.
And Gavin Hunt, we played quite a few games against Swallows, and Gavin Hunt was a big fan. And he actually wanted me to come to Swallows halfway through the season, but
okay.
It was suggested that I stay because at Tuks we were challenging for promotion. So then I ended up staying another 6 months, and the whole move was delayed. And when the season was drawing to an end, there was word that Gavin Hunt was actually going to go to SuperSport, and basically that's how my move came about. I ended up at SuperSport, and it was a dream start, to be honest. I don't think I couldn't have hoped for a better start to my career, to be honest.
Oh man, and definitely without a shadow of a doubt, you guys took DSTV premiership at the time by storm, no doubt. You eventually went abroad, and your injuries, of course, might have halted your progress. And by the way, with regards to the experience that you got overseas, I hear it in your analysis right? When you speak about games and stuff on TV. I'm asking myself, how much did you learn just from going abroad? Like, how important was it for you in regards to where you're at right now?
Well, look, I've learned a lot from, I've been very blessed in my career to have had some incredible coaches. Yes, Kevin Hunt gave me the first opportunity, so he's certainly up there. Steve Compella as well, wonderful coach, wonderful man, incredible man. You know, if you should have a conversation with him, I think you always walk away enlightened. Not just about footballing, just about life in general. Carlos Alberto Pereira in the World Cup, an unbelievable coach. I mean, the amount of experience he had. I mean, I would have so many conversations with him, after training or on the side of the pitch sometimes, when the other guys are training, maybe one group is doing recovery. And it was just incredible. The amount of information, the knowledge, the rich history he shares, the stories he tells. So it's a long journey of just collecting all these sort of different pieces of wisdom. I mean, it's actually priceless, the amount of people, or the types of people I've managed to sit down and have chats with. And obviously, when you're in England, when you're at Spurs, what was the top 4 team at the time as well? Yeah. There's some incredible players. I mean, Gallas will tell you amazing stories about the World Cup, about the Euros that he would have played in. His time at Chelsea. How it was like playing under Mourinho at Chelsea. How it was like playing with leaders like John Terry and Didier Drogba and all those guys and the characters they were in the change room. So it's just a whole journey of just experience and very grateful that I've been around people that were actually willing to share that experience as well.
Yeah, and I mean, look, in that time, you were one of the people that went abroad. Are you slightly disappointed at the fact that we're not having a lot of youngsters from our league transfer abroad?
Yeah, I think it is because also, it directly also affects the national team as well because, you want more players playing at the highest level.
Yeah.
Majority of the national team is Sundowns players. Why? Because, they're exposed to a higher level of football. When they come home, it seems a bit easy for them when they play at home. And I think that's the easiest logical explanation you can see. When there aren't that many players going abroad anymore, it does become a little bit worrisome.
Yeah.
Not just for the level of our football as a national team, but just the continuation of just inspired talent that wants to play football at a high level. We need young players that think bigger than just the PSL. We need to think world football, world stage, national team. We need patriotism. Players who are proud to play for Bafana Bafana national team and who want to win with the national team. I think that is also important.
Yeah, man. I love the sound of that. With regards to our teams within the DSTV Premiership, let's start off with what happened on the African Football League. Mamelodi Sundowns. How did you see their performance? Can they actually win this tournament?
Yeah, no, look, they've been brilliant. I mean, as it would seem, the PSL almost seems too easy for them.
Yeah.
My opinion, having played in Greece, Sundowns could easily play in Greece and top that league as well. To be fair,
whoa.
Style. Yeah, I honestly believe that. And it actually hit me the other day. And I'm like, the way that they play in terms of their tempo and the quality they produce, I would just, call it a little experiment where in my head, I'm like, where would they fare within the Greek league?
Yeah.
Obviously, I played in the Greek league ages ago, that's 2014. I mean, unfortunately, I can't put a gauge on where it is now. I'm assuming it's a lot better. The level's a lot higher than what it was back then.
Yeah.
But, you wonder whether a team like Sundowns would flourish within a European league or context because, as you can see now, in an elite African league, look at where they are. I mean, it tells a story, doesn't it? It does tell a story. And I believe, in the final, I believe they're definitely within a shout. Playing the last leg at home, I think that is always a good place to be. And the 1-goal deficit, and then it's all there for them. Would love to see them win it. I personally would love to see them win it from a South African perspective. Amazing,
man. Look, I got 4 more questions to go. I want to go back to that SuperSport team of yours, consistent for 3 years. I'm looking at other teams that are not so consistent, and I'm specifically looking at Orlando Pirates, and I'm looking at the squad they have, how strong they are. I mean, you guys were up against the Sundowners, the Pirates, the Chiefs at that time, being SuperSport United, maintaining a level of consistency. How come this team is not so consistent? Or I guess how come teams in the DSTV Premiership are not consistent in that way, challenging for Mamelodi Sundowns, I guess?
Well, look, it is obviously it is a different time. Back then, I think when the season started, my first season, no one would have thought SuperSport win the league, but we won it. And then when we won it the first time, they said, we'll just play long ball, hey, Jan. We won it again. And they still complained about our physicality or whatever it was they complained, or we only score set pieces, whatever it was. We won it again. And then we won it the third time and no one said a thing. So it is really, really hard to be that consistent. And I can tell you as a young man, I was 20, I think it was when I was 20? And 21 I was captain. 21, 22 I was the captain. Gavin gave me the armband, and I had leaders around me, which obviously helped massively. I had a lot of experience as well. So it's hard to say. Look, you sacrifice a lot to be that consistent. And I think in modern times, you'd have to speak to the Sundowns players because they're the ones who won the championship, 6 times in a row. When I talk about consistency, it doesn't get any better than that, does it?
Yeah.
So it is the hardest thing in football. To make it is tough, but to stay at the top, that's the hardest thing. Playing as a champion is tough, my friend. I'll tell you that. Because from my experience back then, we would play a team, right?
Yeah.
We'd play a team, call it, let's say we play Moegoe City or whatever, and it would be a tough game. We'd probably win the game 1-0 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next game, Moegoe City would go get smashed 4-0.
Wow.
And then you wonder, well, how do you get smashed 4-0 after playing us? But you guys were so hard to play against when we played you. Because why are you playing as a champion? So people get motivated to play champions and, they want to prove a point and so on and so forth.
Yeah. I asked this question because are you as puzzled as myself in terms of the squad that finished second? They boasted it. I don't think Jose Riveiro is a bad coach as well. Are you also puzzled at the fact that they find themselves closer to the bottom than they are to Mamelodi Sundowns on the log?
Well, currently, if you look where they are now, to be fair, it's exactly the same position they were in last season after winning the MTN8. It's no secret. I said this last season, I'm going to say it again today on Extra Time. Whenever you win the MTN8, I promise you the next 5-6 fixtures become very tricky for you. And it happened last season. I promise you, go look at last season. Look at Pirates' next 4 or 5 games after they won the MTN. It's loss, draw, up until I think the first game they won was against Golden Arrows or something. And then it sort of clicked on. So it's a known thing. I've won the MTN8, and I can say after you won it, it becomes tough in the league. It becomes tough. This year, it's a bit of a special situation where they won the MTN8, and the next game wasn't even a league game. It was another cup competition, the Carling Cup. They won that game. But since then, if you look at their league form, it speaks to that whole thing of winning the MTN8, you suffer for the next 4 or 5 games. And that's where they found themselves now. So I don't see it alarming. I don't see it alarming at all. Unfortunately, Sundowns have obviously now put a gap in terms of points, so they are on the back foot. But in terms of just making their way up the table, that's definitely going to happen.
I see. Another Soweto club that is constantly making changes to their technical dugout with regards to the coaches, Kaizer Chiefs, has to be mentioned. They're playing the derby this coming weekend. From your perspective, these constant changes over the last couple of years, is that what's holding their progress from going even further?
You know what the thing is? When things aren't going right, there's so many reasons you can find, and I don't want to call it excuses, but you can find many reasons why things aren't going right.
Yeah.
Perhaps some are valid, some are not valid, but the fact is, it's just not working out, is it? It's not. So they've made their changes, coaches, one in, one out. They've tried to keep a little bit of continuity in terms of keeping Coach Otto's one as an assistant and getting a new coach, and that didn't seem to work. And now there's a new coach altogether, in Calvin Johnson. Yes, so I guess they're also just trying to figure it out. It's difficult because they're such a big club, within the country. So all eyes will always be on them. And let's be honest, you can imagine the banter flying around when she suffers this much. Yeah. So you hope that at some point, certainly as a big name within South African football, you hope that, if you look at just our football in our league, we need our big hitters to do well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or fortunately. We need them to do well, that it sparks conversation, it sparks that sort of interest within the game. But let's be honest, if you're a Kaizer Chiefs, when things are going well, headlines. When things are going bad, headlines. So the conversation never stops, does it?
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I've got 2 questions left. Your former club is flying high. They're flying under the radar. Nobody's talking about them. SuperSport United, what have you made of them? Can they push Sundowns all the way?
As always. When I was a player with SuperSport,
it
was going to sound very funny, but we never wanted to top the log within the first round. We never wanted it.
Yeah.
Even in the second round, we never wanted to be on top because I promise you, games became tougher when you're on top. They really, really became tougher.
Yeah.
So we loved staying there 2-3, 1 point, 2 points behind, just there. Once it gets to last 6 games, that's when you start turning up the heat. If you know what I mean. But not that you control these things. It sounds like you can, but not that you can control these things. But we never panicked when we were second or third. We never panicked. We always knew when to turn it up. Last 10 games, it's like business. Now it's just head down, grind. The games aren't pretty. The second round is tougher. Teams are fighting for their lives in terms of avoiding relegation. Other teams are trying to win the league. There's some teams who are in the middle that are probably the most dangerous because they play with no pressure. They just play.
Yeah.
They're not going to get relegated. They're not going to win the league. They're happy with top 8, so they just play. And with that freedom, trust me, it becomes hard to play against them. So there's so many dynamics, when it comes to the last 10 games, and certainly within the last round of games. So it's a wonderful position for SuperSport. The club gives players gives young players a chance. Yeah. I think that's been a wonderful ethos of the club, and they've been very consistent with that. Ask yourself, look at how many PFL stars have come from SuperSport. Like, you can count 3 teams, my friend.
Yeah, that's true.
And all those 3 teams could win the league, So it's quite incredible the amount of players that have come through, SuperSport. And that speaks to the professionalism, how the club is run, the mentality within the club. It's honestly quite amazing, the amount of trophies, the club has won over the years. And I think Stan Matthews has done an incredible job. He's been there for over 2 decades, and he's still going strong. He can still spot young talent. He gives young players a chance. He fights for young players. And he's just really, really brilliant at that. I think, he doesn't get enough praises for the work that he does behind the scenes with young players. I had a wonderful conversation with him when I signed. And I'll share this with the world for the first time.
Yeah.
He signed me and he said, listen, you're a young player, I'm signing you. The coach likes you. He's like, listen, if you're difficult with me, you'll have problems in your life. You'll have problems, right? But if you work for me and you do well, I'll make you a very rich man.
Wow.
Simple.
Wowzers.
That's a conversation Stan and I had before I played my first game for SuperSport. And I was like, my friend, sir, Mr. Stan Matthews, you will make me rich.
and
Because I was here to work. I was not there to play around. I was here to work.
I take it Bongani Khumalo is a rich man today.
I can't speak of these things, but God has been very good. I'm very grateful, man. I've got life. I've got good friends. I've had a wonderful road in terms of my career. I've had my disappointments, and I suppose that's part of it. But the support I've had over the years from my family and my closest friends has been out of this world, and my teammates as well. Let's not forget that.
Yo, man, I appreciate this, man, and thank you so much for being a guest. I just want to let you know in on a little secret. I actually do games as well. I do analysis on games on social media as well. And I gotta tell you, man, listening to you on TV week to week, you're one of the people I actually take notes from. So keep going with that. I really do appreciate that, man.
No, thank you. Very kind, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, always a pleasure, man. Do please keep well. Yeah, thank you for being a guest, man.
Cheers, brother. Have a good one.
Who was up to par and who became our star? But also, who fell short in this game we all love? Let's find out on Moegoe of the Week.
For this week, I've got 4 stars of the week. TS Galaxy, Stellenbosch, Amazulu, Richards Bay, the Giant Slayers, the teams in the semi-finals of the Knockout Cup. The sponsors could have not seen this coming. I'm sure they're upset, man. No Sundowns, no Pirates, no Chiefs, no SuperSport. But who cares? It's your time to dance. My Moegoes of the week, definitely the Orlando Pirates players. Some of them even said the next Tembazwane. The cup specialists. You guys really need to relax. Humble yourselves. Yellow Moegoes.
It's time for Bet of the Week. Get ready to win big by placing the right bets on the right games.
The UEFA Champions League is back, and my bet slip only has UEFA Champions League games. Nothing else. Napoli going up against Union Berlin. I've gone with Napoli win. Arsenal against Sevilla over 2.5. Bayern against Galatasaray. Bayern straight win. PSV against Lens. I've gone with over 2.5. Real Madrid at home against Braga. I've gone with the Real Madrid straight win. That's pretty obvious. The odds 5.42. That's over 5 times your money back. If you want to win with me, click on the link below.
Remember to practice responsible betting at betway.co.za.
We've come to the end of the show, but before I go, Golden Arrows, Mamelodi Sundowns, Platinum Stars, Amazulu, Bongintuli. Football has lost. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for future episodes.